Welcome to day 3. Today, Emma has just come out of a job interview and genuinely cannot tell how it went. She and Jake are going through it together, answer by answer. Don't translate, just listen.
Okay, right. I've been pacing outside this building for 45 minutes. Talk to me.
I know. I'm sorry, it ran long.
Is that a good sign?
I honestly don't know.
Emma, you just came out of a job interview. You must have some feeling about how it went.
That's the thing. I have two completely opposite feelings. In the lift on the way down, I thought, okay, I think that was actually fine. And then by the time the doors opened, I'd convinced myself it was a total disaster.
And right now, which one's winning?
They're taking turns.
Come here. You walked straight past me, by the way.
Did I?
You were staring at the pavement.
I was in my head.
You also nearly walked into a bin.
I barely touched it.
Right. Let's walk. Walk and talk. Start from the beginning.
The very beginning?
Door to door. Everything.
Okay, so I got there about 10 minutes early. Signed in at reception. Nice woman at the desk, very calm, offered me a visitor badge like it was the most normal thing in the world.
Which, for her, it is.
Exactly. And then I sat in the waiting area. Really nice space, actually. Open, lots of light, plants everywhere.
Vital detail. The plants.
I'm setting the scene. The chairs were one of those low, squishy sofa types, the kind you sink into and then have to haul yourself out of.
Not ideal.
Completely wrong for projecting professional composure. So, I sat on the edge and I practiced standing up a couple of times while I waited,
You practiced standing up from a chair.
so I wouldn't wobble when they came to get me.
That's either brilliant preparation or the most anxious thing I've ever heard.
Probably both.
Probably. Okay, they came to get you.
Sarah came to get me, one of the two interviewers. Immediately really warm, big smile, firm handshake, asked if I'd had a good journey out.
Good first impression.
Very easy to be around. And she took me to this glass-walled meeting room, the kind where you can see straight in from the corridor outside.
The fishbowl.
The fishbowl, which I always hate, but I sat down, and the other interviewer was already in there, David. Much more formal. He stood up, proper handshake, notepad already out, pen already in hand.
Serious energy.
Not unfriendly, just professional. Harder to read. Whereas Sarah was more open, more expressive. Very different vibes in the same room.
Did that throw you at all?
For about 30 seconds. But I told myself it didn't matter. I just needed to give good answers. I didn't need both of them to warm up to me immediately.
Good call. And then?
Sarah explained the format. They'd take turns asking questions, no wrong answers. Take my time. The standard opener.
They always say that.
Always. And it never actually helps. But this time she said it like she meant it, so I let it settle me a bit. And then we were straight in.
First question.
The classic. Tell us about yourself. The one I'd rehearsed 100 times.
At least 100.
At least. I'd timed it at home too, probably 15 goes before it felt natural.
Does timing it 15 times make it feel natural?
Apparently, yes. I kept it to about 2.5 minutes. Covered my background, what I'd built up in my last role, why I was ready to move on, and why this role specifically felt like the right next step.
And you made the link at the end.
I said, which is why when I saw this role, it felt like the natural place to take things, which I'd rehearsed in a few different ways, and that version felt the least scripted.
And how did it land?
Sarah gave me a real nod. Not a polite, I'm listening nod. A proper yes, that makes sense nod.
You might be reading something into a nod.
I know. But I came out of that answer feeling on solid ground, like I'd cleared the first hurdle and could actually breathe.
Good. Question 2.
David asked about my experience with the project management software they use. I've used it, but not heavily, so I had to be careful.
How did you play it?
Honestly. Said I'd used it for specific tasks in my last role, talked through what those were, and that I was confident I could get up to speed on the rest quickly. And I explained how I'd approach learning it.
And then he had a follow-up?
He asked about a specific feature I'd never really gone deep into, and I just said so. Said I'd need to revisit that one specifically. But here's how I'd approach it. Documentation, running some tests, asking the team.
Honest and practical. That's the right call.
If you try to bluff and then fall apart on a follow-up, that's a much worse look than just saying you don't know yet.
Agreed. Question 3?
Managing competing priorities, multiple deadlines landing at once, which was basically my entire last job for 3 years.
Right in your comfort zone.
Completely. Good example, proper structure, situation, action, outcome. And I even added what I'd do differently next time, which apparently shows self reflection.
Nice touch. Question 4?
My management style, collaborative but direct. I gave an example straight after to back it up, so it didn't just sound like a cliche.
So 4 questions in. All landing, you felt composed. You were in it.
The first half was genuinely good. I keep saying it because I don't want it to get lost later. I was in it. I felt like myself.
And then?
And then question 5.
Tell me.
Sarah leaned forward. Just slightly, but I noticed it, and she said, "Can you give us an example of a time when you had to challenge a decision made by someone more senior than you?"
Oh,
Yeah,
that's a tough one.
I was completely unprepared. I'd gone through every question I could find. Strengths, weaknesses, where do you see yourself in 5 years? Tell us about a conflict. All of them. But that one? It completely threw me. I was totally caught on the spot.
How long did you pause?
About 5 seconds. Which sounds short.
In a quiet room with 2 people watching you, 5 seconds is a very long time.
An eternity. And I could feel myself starting to spiral, panicking, and then worrying about whether the panic was showing on my face, which made it worse.
The spiral.
Full spiral. So I said, "That's a really great question. Let me just think for a moment."
The classic stall.
Bought me 2 extra seconds. And then I just started talking before I'd worked out what I was going to say.
Which came out.
I started on an example from my last job, a situation where my manager decided to go with a particular supplier and I had real concerns about their proposed delivery timeline. Which is actually a genuinely good example. A real disagreement, with someone more senior. Handled constructively.
But
But I started in completely the wrong place. I gave all this context first. The project background, the team structure, the whole history with the supplier, none of which was relevant to what they'd asked, and I could hear myself waffling. I could feel the answer going sideways, and instead of stopping and starting over, I just kept going.
why not stop?
In the moment, stopping felt like admitting I'd lost the thread, seemed worse than pushing through. In hindsight, obviously stopping and resetting would have been completely fine. Better than fine.
Give me the exact words. The opening of the answer.
Okay, I said. So, the context here is that this was a project I'd come into midway, and the supplier relationship had actually been established before I joined the team.
That's a lot of setup.
I know. And then I said something like, and the timeline they proposed was quite aggressive, and I had some concerns about whether we could realistically hit the milestones they'd outlined.
Still setting up.
Still setting up. And then, about 40 seconds in, I sort of lurched toward the point and said, "Anyway, what I did was, I put together some data on previous projects with similar scopes, and I went to my manager with the numbers."
And then?
And then I got there. I made the case for adjusting the timeline, and we came to an agreement that worked for both sides.
That's a solid sentence.
Buried under a minute of waffle.
But it was there. You know what you should have said?
2 sentences. I went to my manager with the numbers. I made the case, we agreed on an adjusted approach. Done.
Clean.
Instead, I gave them the extended director's cut.
Ha! And their faces while you were talking?
David was nodding. He nods throughout everything. I think it's just his default expression. Sarah had this completely neutral face. Professional, still giving me nothing.
She's probably trained to do that.
Almost certainly. But when you know an answer isn't landing the way it should, neutral is the worst thing to be looking at. You're scanning for any signal and there is none.
What did she say when you finished?
"Thank you, that's really helpful." And moved on.
Standard.
Completely standard, means nothing either way. But I heard it as, "Let's move past this as quickly as possible."
It doesn't mean that.
I know. But I spent the next 2 questions, half in the answer I was giving, and half still rewriting question 5 in my head.
Okay. I want to say something.
Go on.
You're reading too much into it.
Am I?
You're reading too much into a nod. Too much into a neutral expression. Too much into, "That's really helpful." All of that is completely standard interview behavior. It tells you nothing either way.
But what if she'd already decided by that point?
Then a follow-up email isn't going to change it. And if she hadn't, which is far more likely, then one imperfect answer in an otherwise strong interview is not a make-or-break moment.
How do you know it's not make or break?
Because they're not sitting there looking for reasons to rule people out. They want to fill the role. If you gave them enough good, one rough moment doesn't undo it.
The catastrophizing part of my brain disagrees.
The catastrophizing part of your brain is wrong. I say that with confidence because I've watched you catastrophize after every interview you've ever told me about.
That's not true.
After the design agency, you were convinced you'd blown it.
I had.
You got a second interview.
Fine. One example.
After the publishing role, you said you'd probably said something offensive.
I might have done.
You got an offer.
One I turned down, but
Irrelevant. The pattern is clear. You come out of interviews, you catastrophize, and you are almost always wrong.
almost always.
Almost always is very good. And what you're describing, one rough answer in the middle, recovered, strong finish. That is not a disaster story. That's a normal interview.
There's something else I keep replaying as well.
Of course there is.
When I said I'd laughed a little at the end of the management style answer, a small nervous laugh.
A small laugh is fine.
What if it seemed unprofessional?
It seemed human, which is not a bad thing to come across as in an interview.
And I think I might have cut across Sarah once. Before she'd finished a sentence.
Once?
Maybe once? I'm not certain.
Emma, one interruption over an hour is not a red flag.
Okay,
Can I tell you what I actually think happens in interviews?
please.
The interviewers are trying to see if you can do the job. That's it. They're not sitting there with a scorecard adding up every slightly awkward moment. They're listening for whether you know your stuff, whether you'd fit with the team, and whether they'd enjoy working with you day to day.
And?
And from what you're telling me, the answer to all three is probably yes. You knew your subject. You asked questions that got them talking about work they're proud of. You held it together well enough to end on a high note,
Except for question 5.
which showed you can handle being caught on the spot even imperfectly, which, in a job where you'll be challenging decisions and managing competing priorities, is actually relevant information about how you work.
That's a very generous reading of a waffle.
It's the other reading, the one your brain isn't letting you consider right now.
Ha, okay.
What happened after question 5?
Question 6. Working under pressure. That's my territory. Strong example, good structure. And Sarah smiled at one point. A real smile.
You recovered.
I think so. I hope so.
And the close?
They gave me the floor. Any questions? I had 3. The first had already come up naturally during the conversation, so I said so. You've actually already covered this one, but I was going to ask about team structure. I got a good sense of it from what you mentioned. Shows I was actually listening.
Smart move.
And my second question, I asked how the team collaborates with other departments, and both of them lit up. Sarah and David started talking over each other about this recent project with the ops team. Clearly something they were proud of.
So at the very end, they were selling the role to you.
A bit, yeah, which felt like a good place to land.
It's a great place to land. They're engaged. They want you to want the job.
And then Sarah wrapped up. We'll be in touch within the week. Handshake from both of them. Hope to speak soon.
Warm.
Or just what you say.
Warm neutral at minimum.
I can work with warm neutral.
Right. Let me reflect everything back.
Okay,
First answer, solid, clear, link landed. Second, honest, practical right call on the follow-up. Third and fourth, comfortable structured examples backed everything up. Fifth, went sideways, you waffled, you recovered and got to the right conclusion. Sixth, strong, confident, back on solid ground. Close, smart, showed you were listening, got them talking about their own work. That's the interview.
yeah.
That is a good interview with one rough moment in the middle.
One rough moment I cannot stop thinking about.
Give it a rest.
I'm trying.
You know what went wrong. You know what you'd do differently. There's genuinely nothing useful left to get from replaying it.
What if they want a second interview?
Then you go.
Obviously. But what if they ask the same question again?
Then you give the 2-sentence version. Clean, structured, confident. You know it now. You could rehearse it properly,
115 times.
if necessary. But let's not get there yet. A second interview is a great problem to have.
You're right. One thing at a time.
Come on. Coffee. And on the way, I want to hear the good parts again.
You've already heard them.
I want you to say them again out loud, because I think you need to hear yourself say them.
Is this a psychological technique?
It's a Jake technique.
What's the difference?
Mine actually works. Start with the first answer.
Fine. The first answer. I kept it tight, made the link, and I felt on solid ground. And Sarah gave me a real nod.
Real nod.
Real nod. Not a polite one.
Hold on to that. Let's go.
Okay. I've drafted the email. Listen to this.
Go.
Dear Sarah and David, thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. I really enjoyed learning more about the team and the role, and I especially enjoyed hearing about the project with the ops team. It gave me a real sense of how the team works together. I'm still very excited about the opportunity, and I look forward to hearing from you. Best wishes, Emma.
That's really good.
It feels too short.
That's exactly why it's right. Short and warm says, I'm confident. I don't need to over-explain. I respect your time.
What about the sign off? Best wishes? Is that too stiff?
It's perfectly normal for a post-interview email.
Not kind regards?
Also fine.
Not just best?
All of them are fine, Emma.
Okay. And nothing else in the body?
What were you thinking of adding?
I was thinking, maybe I could find a way to weave in the point I didn't land in question 5. Just subtly. Show that I actually have a proper answer to it.
Don't.
But what if?
Emma, any attempt to weave in a better answer reads as exactly one thing.
Which is?
I know I didn't do well on that, and I'm trying to fix it after the fact.
But what if it genuinely tips the balance?
If it's tipping the balance, a follow-up email won't change it. And if it isn't, which is more likely, then trying to patch it up makes the original answer look worse, not better.
Even if I'm subtle about it?
Especially if you're subtle. Interviewers have read hundreds of these emails. They see the seam. They know exactly what casual mention of the topic I didn't nail looks like.
Okay, fine. No extras.
No extras. Send it now, before you talk yourself into a fourth sentence.
I've already mentally written a 4th sentence.
What was it?
Something about being passionate about the direction of the company.
Absolutely not.
Too much?
That's the email I sent after the marketing interview. You remember how that one went?
The one you didn't get.
The one I very much did not get. For multiple reasons, but the email did not help. No passion. Send it.
Sending. Done. It's gone.
Good.
I immediately want to send a follow-up to the follow-up.
Do not do that.
I won't. What if I made a typo?
You read it to me and it was fine.
I spelled opportunity wrong in a work email once. In 2021. OPPURTUNITY.
Rough.
I still think about it.
This email is fine. And it's sent. So now, sit tight.
Sit tight. They said within the week, so by Friday at the latest.
And in the meantime, don't catastrophize. Don't replay question 5 on a loop. Don't read too much into the exact wording of Sarah's wrap-up.
What about checking my email every 5 minutes?
That's allowed. Checking is not catastrophizing. Checking is just being human.
Useful distinction.
You're allowed to wait and hope. You're not allowed to decide it's gone badly before you know.
What if I don't hear by Friday?
Monday morning, polite follow-up. Hi, just checking in on my interview from last week. I'm still very keen and I'd love to hear where things stand.
Is that too pushy?
You're a candidate, not a petitioner. You're allowed to follow up after the agreed time frame.
Okay.
But let's not get to Monday. Let's get through this week first.
One thing at a time.
Exactly. Email sent. Week ahead. Checks permitted. Catastrophizing not permitted.
I can work with that.
Good.
What if it has gone badly?
Then we find out and we deal with it. Something involving a significant amount of snacks and a new plan.
And if it's good news?
You buy me the most expensive coffee on this menu and we celebrate properly.
Fair.
I thought so.
Actually, can I say one more thing?
1.
Even if it doesn't work out, even if I don't get it, I think I handled myself better today than I have in interviews before. The first half especially. I felt present in a way I don't always feel. Like I was actually in the conversation, not just waiting for it to be over.
That's real progress.
It is, isn't it? Whatever happens.
Whatever happens. And for what it's worth, I think it's going to happen.
You can't know that.
I choose to believe it.
Ha. Chosen belief. Okay, me too.
Good, now, give it a rest. Go home. Do something completely unrelated to job interviews.
And text you the moment I hear.
Even if it's 4 p.m. on a Friday.
Especially if it's 4 p.m. on a Friday.
Right. Good luck. Not that you need it.
Maybe just a little bit.
Maybe just a little bit.
That's day 3. Here's the language from today's conversation. Blank, to go blank, means your mind suddenly empties and you can't think. Emma went completely blank when she heard the question. Waffle, to talk for a long time without really saying anything useful. She waffled through a minute of background before finding her point. Composure, staying calm and in control when you're under pressure. She felt composed through the whole first half. In hindsight, understanding something better only after it has already happened. In hindsight, she should have stopped and restarted the answer. Catastrophize, to imagine the worst possible outcome when it probably isn't that bad. Jake said she was catastrophizing about the whole thing. On the spot. To be caught on the spot means you're expected to respond immediately, with no time to prepare. That question caught her completely on the spot. Come across as to seem or appear a particular way to other people. She came across as confident and grounded in the second half. On solid ground, feeling secure, well prepared, and in control. After the first answer, she felt on solid ground. Go sideways when something goes unexpectedly wrong. Question 5 was when the interview went sideways. Through me, something throws you when it unsettles or confuses you completely. That question completely threw her. Read too much into, to find meaning or importance that probably isn't there. Jake said she was reading too much into every nod. Make or break, the thing that determines whether something succeeds or fails. Jake told her it wasn't a make or break moment. Weave in, to include something naturally inside something larger. She wanted to weave a better answer into her follow-up email. Sit tight, to wait patiently without taking any action. After sending the email, all she could do was sit tight. Give it a rest, to stop doing something, especially when you've been at it too long. Jake told her to give it a rest and stop replaying the interview. Great work. See you in day 4.